Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley. I'm your host, Ashley Live, and this is episode 210 of my show. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I'm really excited for tonight's legendary guest, the one, the only, Bobby Harris, a visionary Grammy-winning saxophonist, producer, writer, and arranger. Harris founded the Dazz Band in the late 1970s, leading them to historic success. In 1982, the Dazz Band made history as the first group from Cleveland, Ohio to receive a Grammy Award for Best Performance by an R&B group or duo with their hit Let It Whip. Harris's influence extends to 14 albums, earning him numerous awards, including a Diamond Award of Excellence for his groundbreaking concept, United We Funk. Bobby is in the house. Let's get this party started.
Hi, Ashley.
Bobby, how are you?
Hi, were you talking about me? Were you saying that about
Bobby,
me?
yes, I am talking about you, the one and only. Bobby, I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming on my show. A couple nights ago, I had your incredible bandmate, Marlon McLean, on my show, and I'm so very honored to welcome you so we can just chat a bit about you and your beautiful musical journey.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Ashley.
Of course, of course.
Tomorrow,
So,
fine job.
yeah, how's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, it's kind of sad. My Browns, they lost. Cleveland's home for me, and I'm in it to win it. So maybe next year. But I was really surprised at what happened. But I love Cleveland. I love the Browns. And I'm just not jumping on the bandwagon. I've been a Browns fan all my life. So, you guys played your butts off. Nothing to hang your heads about. We love you. Hey, next year.
Next year.
Next year all the way.
Next year. Football is one of those things people get very intense about it.
Yeah.
You're a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan. I can understand you're upset.
Well, I'm not necessarily upset. I'm disappointed. I was really surprised at the outcome. But we've gone through a lot. We had a lot of injuries throughout the season. Lost the starting quarterback. Flacco came in, did a wonderful job, got us in the playoffs. So we can't say throw any salt on him. And it was just, sometimes it's just not your day. And sometimes your day doesn't happen for you at the wrong time. So, so you just gotta look at that. So I love these brothers way back to Jim Brown. Yeah. So Cleveland's they'll be back. They'll be back.
Not their time at the moment.
Yep.
But hopefully next year, right?
At the end of the day, there's only two teams that go.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
Well, I want to start at the very beginning of your journey, back to your childhood. So, can you talk to me about the importance of music in your life during those years?
Oh, it was very important. I was fortunate enough to have a father that he was a building contractor, but he played saxophone. And I grew up. We all grew up. I have 4 sisters, 2 brothers. I lost one brother about 5 years ago. But music was in our home all the time, and my dad played, John Coltrane, Cannonball, Charlie Parker, Miles. Played everybody. We used to have what they call a high five back then. So I grew up listening to music, and I was fortunate enough to be at elementary school where they gave instruments to kids that wanted to play, and I chose the clarinet. I was 8 years old, and it taught you from scratch. And I didn't have to. My dad didn't have to ask me or tell me to practice. I like playing, so I just played. So growing up with that influence, that jazz influence, I just wanted to be a jazz musician. Period. So at 14 years old, he got me an alto sax, which I wanted, and so badly. And he sent me to this guy named Vincent Patty, who used to be with Stan Kenton. He was a saxophonist with them, and he was such a great guy because he knew how to keep your interest. You didn't just play scales. He said, okay, we're gonna play some bebop. We're gonna play some syncopation, and his hands looked like this because he was older and he had palsy, but he would just we're gonna do this, and he shake by that and shake by that, and then he put that saxophone in his hand. His hands just steady, and he fun. And he got me off to a great start, reading music and everything. And I just stayed with it. So I was, fortunate enough because my dad had me in clubs with him when I was 16. So I go in and sit in with the guys and get ran off the stage or whatever. Go home and learn this, go home and learn that, and come back, and so forth. And then bit by bit, I started getting where I could hang, and then I got to the point where I could more than hang, and so made a little name for myself, as a saxophonist in Cleveland. So played every bar from the east side to west side, for many years before I even thought about a Dazz Band or Kinsman Dazz. So just sang in church. My brother was a bass player, and he sounded like the one that passed away, and he sounded like Sam Cooke singing. And my other brother played drums, so we all of us were just into some sort of music. So I was the guy that kind of was fortunate, where it happened. My thing of what do you say, find something you love to do and try to make money at it. That happened for me. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And when you love what you do, it never feels like work.
Never feels like work.
Mm-hmm.
When it starts to feel like work, I think that you should either stop doing it or do something else. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because I think a lot of people have jobs maybe they don't like, but I think you really need to listen to your inner self and be like, what is it that I love to do, and then go for that.
Yes, and over a lifetime, just think about it. If everyone can't be an actor or actress or sports person, whether you're an announcer or you're participating in professional sports. Everybody can't be that. But if you're good enough in anything and you give it a try and it's in your heart, at least give it a try.
Yeah.
At least give it a try, because you never know, So nothing worse than being, at your going, oh, I got to go to work today. See you tonight. It's not a good feeling. You can be happy working any job, whether it's a factory job or you fly planes or you do whatever. If you're happy doing it, you know what I mean? But music, I just think there's a chosen few that in the world, if you look at 9 billion people on the planet, there's a chosen few to get to do this. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. I look at us as being chosen and special, and don't denigrate or throw any shame on that gift. So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Love that. So you're playing saxophone all around these clubs. And so talk to me about when you started the Dazz Band, when you founded that in the 1970s. What inspired you to create the band?
Well, I was one of those guys that actually said that I was never going to play funk. Funk was dumb, easy music, stupid music. If you're not playing jazz, you're not really, one of the cats, you know what I mean? So I came from this jam session on Euclid Avenue, and people in Cleveland know where that is. But back in the 70s, it was cooking. You could go so many places to hear live music. It was ridiculous, I lived in Little Harlem in there, all these clubs. And there was a band that I used to sit in, and it was so funny. Me and my friends used to go there. It was Club 100, and the band was in the window, just a trio, but they were all blind. And the drummer was blind, the saxophone player was blind, and the organ player was blind. And Rashawn Roland Kirk and Eddie Backus, and I can't really remember the drummer's name right now, but anyway, they were called Three Blind Mice. They were so talented. I mean, Eddie Backus was he never left Cleveland, but he could have been so large, it was ridiculous. And Rashawn Roland Kirk, people knew about him. But so anyway, we go there and just get our butts kicked, and get out of here, go learn some more stuff. You know what I mean? So we paint the mustache on, get up in there and, just try to hang out and learn something. And so I left there, and I heard this band that was just cooking. I went across the street. It was a place called The Cave. It was a college, joint. So went downstairs, and behold, it was Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Oh, cool.
And so when I heard the musicianship and the music, I said, "Shoot, I can. Hey, that's all right there. I can do that without feeling like a sellout." So moving fast forward, I had a group called Black Heat. That was that kind of group. I had a group. I was in a group called Complexes. That was that kind of group. I was in a group called Bell Telefunk, which was the group right before the Dazz, the Camden Dazz and whatnot. And we played, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Buddy Miles. We had fun playing big horn sections, back in that day.
Yeah.
And so the band kind of dispersed, and there were three of us left. And me and the other guys, we weren't going to quit doing it. So we started to say, well, let's go in another direction. And so this guy played trombone with me in a couple of bands we were in, and we went up and we started holding auditions, to start a new band. And so this other guitar player, I'm not mentioning the names purposely, and he said, "Oh, I know this guitar player. He's young and this, and so he came up and auditioned. I said, "Oh man, he's pretty hot dude, or blah blah." And then there's these brothers that came up that were like monsters. You're all young, they're way beyond their years in playing, but never were exposed anywhere in Cleveland. And so it kind of started there. And my friend came back that I grew up with. There was a trombone player, and he was being out with the Whispers, and he said, "Man, I love this. Can I come back and join your band?" He came back. Then another guy, was a sax player that I knew, he said, "Hey, I want to join your band." He came back, So anyway, we started adding these members, and before we knew it, we had a four piece horn section and a 5-piece rhythm section.
Awesome.
And we were like a funk fusion band. So it went from there. Things started happening from there, leading in the direction of playing R&B and popular music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's who you know. I mean, that's just for sure. I mean, because you can't. Sometimes you can't make something happen yourself, but sometimes you know people that can help you. And I went to school with this guy that was working for a guy that was a distributor, and then the other guy was a sax player that was really good sax player, and he broke his nose, and I took his place in his band.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. He said, "Hey, just go play, man. He needs a sax player." So I was with that band a year. But anyway, so it just, it just one thing went to another, and then when I met, this guy, which I will mention his name, Sonny Jones. His wife and I went to school together. So and Sonny had a bar called the Kinsman Grill, and when we were rehearsing, when we finally had a band, we were rehearsing at this bowling alley. And the guy said, "Hey, I'll let you rehearse free, but you got to do a free cabaret for me, each month for rent,
Yeah.
Well, the first one never got off the ground. The first one, and he said, "Get out. You guys get out of here." So that's why we wound up at the Kinsman Grill, and we rehearsed there, and we played there on the weekends, and that was kind of fortuitous in that particular instance that I knew him, and he said, "Hey man, come on in and play." And the band was a monster. When you're trying to put like 300 people or 150 people in a place that only held 80 people, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it was a crazy place to play. So anyway, and then we went from there to another management situation, and from that management situation, we got into 20th Century Fox through my friend that I went to school with, and didn't kind of look back from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then you guys made history in 1982, being the first group from Cleveland to win a Grammy.
Yes.
For Let It Whip. So, okay, bring us back. I know it's been a while, 1982, but how did the success of the song impact the group?
Wow. We were on a trampoline bouncing up. We had trajectory of going up, but then we got on a cannon and got shot out of a cannon with that song. Right. We did 2 albums at 20th Century under the production of Earth, Wind and Fire, and then we met well, Leon was the head of A&R at Motown. He sent this guy named Reggie Andrews to us in 1980.
Yeah.
And Reggie had done, a lot of producing and whatnot. And he head of a keyboardist, really mild man. He was a school teacher, So some of the great, like Patrice Rushen and Gerald Albright and all these people came from him, so far as him being the teacher. And so he came out as a consultant on our first record. And then he said, how'd you like working with Reggie? I said, oh man, it was great. Well, for the next one, why don't you, he just produced that one. I said, hey, it's cool with me. So he produced the next record. And then the next record was Keep It Live. And he brought that monster to us. That it whipped, and we used to listen to the song. It was so different that, you weren't hearing it at, oh, this is a smash, if you know what I mean. It wasn't, you didn't have the A&R ear saying, oh, this is a smash record. It was so different, but cool. It had something cool about it. But it was, okay, we're playing this kind of music and we have this song,
Mm-hmm.
And so, we got it together and got to playing. And then there was a place in Beechwood at the Marriott. That was ladies' night. And we used to go up because our studio was right across the street from that. And Reggie had the guy make an acetate. And acetate is a record vinyl. Well, it's made out of another material. I can't even think of the name of it now. But it's not a vinyl. You can't play it a lot of times, but you can get about 4 plays out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave it to the DJ and said, would you please play this, for us, And he played Let It Whip, and the floor packed. I mean, when you see a floor packed and people, because, people say, what's this song? Can I dance to this? You just wait, you know what I mean? But the floor just got, everybody's dancing and everything, so. Okay, interesting. We might have something here, So, and it kept proving itself, and then they let it release it as a single. And it took off. It took off so fast, actually, that one record plant was pressing the records. That was the main, so far as quality control and all that. But couldn't keep up with the demand, and then they started taking it to another place to be pressed, and we started having defective records going to this other place, which was kind of crazy, But they weren't ready for it, ready for it, and it was. Yeah. Took off, and took off, and we took off,
I think it's amazing because I feel like when people hear this song for the first time, there is something so powerful and so funky and so feel good, and it just really turns your life around when you hear the song. I really feel that way.
Yeah. It was Reggie was a good cat. I mean, we lost him last year. Mm-hmm. He was my best friend. And I say that with no reservation. I have friends that I'm really close to, like Marlon. I would say they're one of my best friends. But the thing that he and Reggie have in common is that we don't argue. We never argue about anything. We can talk about everything and never argue about anything. And which goes to show you can have that kind of relationship with someone that respects you. You respect them and they respect you. You know what I mean? So, and that was a unique thing, with Reggie. We laughed. The studio was so silly, Ashley. You would have said, are these guys grown or are they 10? You know what I mean? Because we would just make records and just be laughing all the way through, through the process. You know what I mean? Just having fun, So taking a break, going and playing ping pong against each other, or had pizza boxes stacked to the ceiling. It was just crazy. We just had fun with these guys recording, and the contributions that they were making as individuals in the band was making everything just kind of fuse together. Mm-hmm. And we came out, and that gave us a synergy, it gave us a sound based on attitude. Yeah. If that makes any sense to you. You take the attitude of every player on each instrument, and that person has to have attitude for a band to have that.
Right.
So that band, there was not a weak link in that band.
That's very powerful, because when you think of all those guys that are part of that success, right? You need to make sure that you have the strongest person behind that instrument, right? Yes. Because then as a unit, you guys will move differently and have that success.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, Yeah, and we kind of paid some prices, kind of paid some dues, being out there, having a hit record, and you're like, got a number one song,
Yep.
and you're the new guys, and the rest of the bands, kind of like trying to, slow your roll a little bit. I'm gonna say it mildly, slow your roll a little bit, but they never were successful in doing so because we were confident in who we were,
Right.
respected who they were, and after a while made them to respect us. So that's and people respect you when you don't react to their craziness.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they make you crazy, then they won. When you go, okay, it's cool, man. And you get out there and you do your thing, people are like, okay, see y'all later. That's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? I mean, think about all the crazy stuff you're talking about. We're here to entertain the people. You know what I mean? So you're in competition. I'm not in competition.
Right.
So people that like us. People that like you, and like people like our music, So that's how I look at it. So it was always fun. Just I had an incident. We opened up for a group that I'm not going to mention, and people kept shouting our name and after we were off stage, and we were the newbies. We only get like 20 minutes, 25 minutes just to play. That's all we had, but we go on, boom,
Yeah.
And people go, wow, what was that? And they kept, screaming our name with us leaving. And the next concert, they had our equipment pushed way up to the front of the stage. We were in a line. We didn't even have any depth or nothing. Just crazy stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, all right, just get out here. They can't stop this. Let's just do what we got to do and get on out.
You just got to ride it out.
Ride it out, get to the next one. You know what I mean? So it's just funny. I don't know.
So then you toured alongside legendary acts like the Gap Band, Rick James, Kool the Gang, Luther Vandross. Can you talk about maybe a standout moment of when you were touring with one of those groups or people?
Yeah, this is funny. So it was some of the bands you named. It was we were opening for Kool the Gang and Luther Vandross. Luther Vandross was the headliner. So, we have all this choreography, boom, the horns, pow, pow, and people, Kool the Gang got steps and everything, all these hits they got, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, I never seen Luther dance. He don't move. How do what he gonna do? What he gonna do? So me and a couple guys, we're out there in the audience, and the stage got dark, and people started ramping up, and Luther came out, and he was all screaming and everything, and he put his hand on the grand piano and just looked at him, right? And then he rambled and he got quiet, right? And then he said, do 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 do, and it was deafening. I mean, people just went nuts for this guy the whole show, and I'm going like, this dude doesn't dance, he doesn't do none of stuff, and they love him. You know what I mean? So it's a teaching point. You know what I mean? It's like, less is more. When you have a certain thing about you, charisma about you that people buy into, you don't have to do a flip. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. And it just made me kind of rewrite some thoughts I had in my head. You know what I mean? So, but that was a good one there. And Rick James, he was just. I had more fun. We had more fun with Rick James and Kool the Gang, but Rick James, he was the persona that Rick James portrayed was not Rick James. Rick James was a very smart guy, very talented, but he was very business savvy, and he had his demons, but he was the first guy that we were on the same label, but he would just say, hey, for it's going out, man. Play as long as you want, and we were playing in front of 17,000 people, 18,000, just the Dazz Band and Rick headlining, you know what I mean? And Rick taught me a lot because Rick knew how to work an audience. He just knew how to work, and so I would just borrow stuff from him, you know what I mean? And then incorporate it into the way we worked, and what we did, and his band was cool. It was a situation where the band we were all cool with the band. It was
Mm-hmm.
cool. It was with Rick, and it was fun. No
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he always loved that. You know what I mean? So he was responsible, I think, Rick, for us really crossing over a lot because the punk funk grew a large crossover audience.
Mm-hmm.
So there was as many whites there as blacks at his shows. You know, so we crossed over. That's
Yeah.
been over there for number 5 right after that tour. So, mhm.
That sounds absolutely legendary. I wish I could go back in time and be at a Dazz Band Rick James show. Like
Yeah.
to go back in time and experience that energy. So I know you said Rick taught you a lot. Were
Yes.
there a couple standout things that Rick taught you?
Just engaging. When I'm on stage, I'm like you and I talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't change who I am. I talk to the audience like I've been knowing them, or you're my friends. You know, I'm not a screamer. You know, I just, what's up with y'all? You know what? You know, I just get in. I just act naturally because people love you when you act natural. They can tell when you fake, as we say, faking the funk. You know, they can tell. You know, you act natural. Act like you want to be there because we do, and act like you appreciate them because we do.
Yeah.
And act like we have gratitude for what we're doing because we do. And they will read that. You know, if they feel you're above them or you're too snobby or you don't get over like that. And Rick would just go down and get them.
Yeah.
He go wherever he was at, he just go get them. You know what I mean? And so I just look at, hey, you're a winner, Ashley, from the first note you played because they've already paid to see you. You know what I mean? You know, it's not like they're paying and leaving. Did you like the Dazz Band? Nope. Okay, you ain't got to pay. We're not going to pay them. It doesn't work like that. You know, they've already bought the ticket. So then you're obligated to give them their money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the fair exchange, you know, I think, you know. They take, they're buying you and they're buying the years you practice your instrument and sang or dance. They're buying all that for a price. And it's not necessarily they're paying a price for that, but they want to be entertained. And if you do that, they'll come back and see you again. And you know, they come back and see you again and again because that's what a fan is. Because you say, oh, wow, those guys always leave it on the stage.
Yeah.
They give a great performance. And that's what you want. You know, that's what you want people to say. You know, that's what you want to say about you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important as a performer to engage with your audience because, like you said, I need to be myself. If I'm not myself, like my fans are gonna be like, "What are you? That's not you."
Yeah, they said Bobby's crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy, so I act crazy. I have some fun out there. You know what I mean? I don't. But I don't put on any airs or anything like that. You know, I just say, this is me. This is, you know, what's up with you? What you doing? What you looking at? You know what I mean? You come to, you know, you wanted to look at TV, stay home. This is a show. You know, we're gonna party tonight. You know, so you know, just be yourself. You know, and let them buy that or not. You know, so yeah.
It's a fun, funky, good time, and you can't listen to funk if you're not having fun. So you gotta just bring the fun and the funk, and everything else follows. And it is a straight up party seeing you guys perform. Like when I saw you guys last summer, I was just like, I don't want this to end. I just want it to be like a 5-hour show.
Yeah. It's fun. You know, we have an audience that's engaged. You want to play for 5 hours, you know, if you know what I mean, because they just their energy, which people, well, they know, but the more energy a crowd has, they kind of hold you up.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? You know, they kind of just hold you up and just make you want to, like a chef. I haven't even got to the main course yet.
Yeah.
You know, you loving this? Okay, let me give you some more appetizers. Let me do, you love me? All right, wait till you get to the main course. You know what I mean? You keep making them anticipate what's going to happen next. You know what I mean? And that's what we try to do. Not thinking about it. You know, we have obviously a set list, but we just kind of like, I would change the set list if the crowd is not where I want them to be.
Definitely.
Right there on the spot, I'll change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Van knows that about me. Well, no, we're not doing that to him right now. We're gonna do this to him.
So the Dazz Band showcased their talent on popular TV shows like Soul Train, Solid Gold, and American Bandstand. How did these appearances contribute to the band's success and visibility?
Monumental. They were all monumental. the great late Don Cornelius. It was our first show. And our management company said, "Oh, by the way, guys, we had a meeting. They want us on soul trainers." And we said, "Oh, when?" And he said, "Oh, this weekend." I said, "This weekend?" And it was like Tuesday or something.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, and seriously, so when we got there, because we lived in Cleveland then, we got there and met Don and everything, and we made those steps up that you see that we do to let it whip in the back after the makeup room and all that stuff. We didn't have steps to that song.
Oh, wow.
Until then, and if you look at it, if just go back actually after look at it, I was kind of like a deer in headlights. I was like, I'm uncomfortable with this, and you kind of see it, but I was like, okay, but I was uncomfortable, uncomfortable with it because it was new, and you're like, the first impression, you always want people, and so when we got through it and everything, it was that part was cool, but it wasn't like a rehearsed, situation, and it stuck, those steps stuck and the choreography stuck, and we went on from there, and we played. Maybe did Soul Train about 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
And American Bandstand, we did it at once, and that was Dick Clark was another kind of guy. He was special. He came back. We were getting ready to go on, and he asked where I was. It was Bobby Harris, and he introduced himself to me and said, "I love what you're doing. I love the way the band looks, and you're really good for the music business, and I can't wait to see y'all play." He said it off camera, and that meant a lot more to me off camera than what a person says on camera. You know what I mean? So, that was we was on there with Stray Cats, and I think we had something like 30, like 20 or 30, well, like 20 or 30 million viewers at that particular time on that show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that Dick Clark said that to you off camera, right? Because like you said, somebody could say something to you on camera just to say it. But when someone comes up to you and shakes your hand, it just says it, man to man. It means so much more.
It did. I felt his sincerity, and he didn't have to say anything. He was Dick Clark. You know what I mean? We were just coming up, and he said, "Hey, I like what you guys doing. I like your look. It's good, blah, blah, blah." So I remember that, and that was 43 years ago.
Yeah. And that'll stay with you for the rest of your life, just because it was him. He was genuine. He meant it. And you're like, that is pretty amazing to have an experience like that.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got to talk about this Whip It challenge. So don't know, Let It Whip has gone viral, and people are dancing to this all over TikTok. Bobby, what are your thoughts on this? Talk to me.
It was a gift.
Yeah.
It was a gift. This guy, Big X, the plug, and he used it just in a rap that he had, and then this lady, she grabbed it and made a dance out of it, and then the Whip It challenge. And it just kept blowing up. And the people that didn't know the Dazz Band, finally knew the Dazz Band and liked the Dazz Band. And bringing us in this other generation of fans, was huge for us. You couldn't, it's one of those things actually where you couldn't have sat at a board meeting with some executives and say, "Oh, let's just craft this thing. Let's do this TikTok." You couldn't have done that the way that happened. It happened organically, and it happened because someone else was thinking about us that way musically, and then someone else started thinking about us that way from a dance standpoint. And then you've seen Paula Abdul, and you've seen these teams get together, these cheerleader teams get together and do it, and mom and daughters and women and their husbands and vice versa. And you just seen everyone doing it all over the world. And they had I think they had us at number 5 on a new chart for new artists that they had. So it was fun, to see that,
Yeah, I thought it was so amazing because TikTok has like their year-end charts, just like the Billboard charts, right? Like you want to chart on the Billboard charts. And then when we looked at this past year and what was trending on TikTok. There were all these, some of the songs people, had never heard of, or artists. But then when I saw you guys in that list, it was like, I was reading that article and I was just like, I just felt so happy for you guys, genuinely, because I'm like, I love that so many people are getting to know the Dazz Band, like a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old who's scrolling on TikTok, who's like, oh, this is cool. Like this group of people look really cool doing this dance. I've never heard this song before. Then they go listen to the song. Then they're like, oh, this is funky. This is fun. I want to, I want to go to see the Dazz Band live. Like, I love that. I love that so many people are, showing love to the song. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any like standout videos that you saw that you were like, this is awesome?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of blown away actually by a lot of them because it's not easy. I mean, it's really not an easy thing. But I liked when the husband and wives got together to do it. I liked when the drill teams, because they had to put in work.
Yes.
You got 20 people doing it, and you say, oh wow, I love it in these different colleges and whatnot. Then you see some little kids doing it. You know what I mean? So it was all over the place. It was just different people from different places in the world. It was just all over the place. That to me was the cool part about it. It just was everywhere.
Yeah. I think it's wild how TikTok can take something like a song, people can dance to it. It can become this viral sensation. And you've worked some of those dance moves into your show. I mean, you call people on stage and say, if you know the dance, come on up here.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. We have. And like I said, it's when you do it, it's not that easy to do. And that's the other part. That's why it's a challenge. You know what I mean? It's not that easy. They did some work, putting that together.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to talk about this concept, United We Funk. Can you share the backstory of how it came to life?
Ooh. All right. Back in the day, the 90s, we had our run in the 70s and the bands that I would tour with, 70s, and we had our run. We were on the charts, record deals and so forth. And then hip hop came and gangster rap and all that kind of pushed us to the side. People, if you weren't doing that, you weren't doing music.
Right.
And so I just said, this is not cool. We're not going to die off the vine, and we're part of this this tree. The strong part of this tree. So I made up a business plan. That maybe was 30 pages of it, and conceptually, and started looking for an investor. And this guy that he had a club in Denver, and I had been talking to some of his people, but he was the guy that actually could pull the trigger. These other guys were just talking, So we did his show. We came up and just played at his club. We played at his club. He walked over and he says, "Who's this Bobby Harris? Which one of you is Bobby Harris?" And I said, "Me." He said, "Oh, well, I love your idea." And he had just got married, not too long before that. And he said, "Well, I'm here to have a good time. I don't want to talk business, but I love your idea, right?"
Yeah.
So we did 2 shows. The second show, he says, "Hey, after this, let's go and talk." You know what I mean? And so we went and sat down, and he said, "Okay, let's do this. I'm in it. Let's do this." So that was on a Saturday. Tuesday, I picked him up from the airport, Burbank, and we went to lunch, and we started right there. And the concept was all the guys that were sitting on the couch, or doing some other things. Some people had to get their bands back together in order to do this. And so, and I had my list, who I wanted to work with, and Marlon McClain, who you already interviewed. And he and I were sitting there with Bo, and we said we're going forward, and he said, "Okay, all right, we need some offices." He just started doing this. So we need to get some offices down here and so forth and so on. He just was like, he was ready to roll.
Mhm.
and and so he said, okay, who else you know? And I knew this guy Steve, that used to manage us and whatnot. Steve was kind of hooked into the business, and so anyway, we got offices, and then we had the big summit where we called Charlie Wilson and Rick James, called everyone that was going to be involved to a meeting, and
Yeah.
everybody loved the concept, and so we were off to the races, and each person had to do 2 songs, and with a budget, and bring it to the table, music, and then we rehearsed in Memphis, Tennessee, about a month, and the
Mhm.
band was huge. I mean, we had, each band had some people from their band in the United Funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had 2 drummers, we had like 3 bass players, like 4 keyboard players, 3 guitar players. It was a huge rhythm section, and then we had all the lead singers from each one of those bands, and a big horn section, and we just started tearing it up, and they started making so much noise. A very good friend of ours, Mr. Tom Joyner, said, "Oh, I want some of that," and he started going out with us and
Yeah.
emceeing and all that, and Tom said on his radio, "So you guys got to go see this United Funk when it plays," because he said, and I remember him saying this. He said, "It's like standing in the middle of some railroad tracks. You see the train coming, but you don't want to move." He said, "You want to let the funk hit you," because the show was so long. Because everyone got, there was no B sides. Everybody had everyone's A sides.
Yeah.
Hit, hit, and then ladies, bless your hearts, come in with those high heels on, and they take them off and walk out. 'Cause we was beating them down with that, and we got recognized, and that's what we get. Mom and I we received a Diamond Award for putting that. For putting that together. And
Yeah.
it was one of the biggest moments of my life, and more special than what people actually know, because I was at the table with the other recipients, but I was sitting with Queen Latifah, Grover Washington's daughter, because Grover had passed away.
Mhm.
She was singing for him, but the great jazz artist Freddie Hubbard and the great McCoy Tyner. We all were at that same table and eating, having fun with those guys. And those are the guys I was listening to when you was asking about the questions at the beginning of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just blown away by the whole thing. So that was that was a special time. And unfortunately, we lost Bo, and Mom and I we held it up for a little while, and then said, "Oh, we gotta get out of this, because it's getting too much." So, but the guys still talk about it. Everyone that was involved in that, they still talk about it. I don't know how great that was. Yeah.
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 So do you think, so looking back on your career, do you think that was one of the most dearest moments to have?
Oh, that was that was a monumental situation. When you have an idea, but you didn't think it was going to actually, it's like a chef that's got an idea in his head, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna make this lasagna or whatever," and he starts adding all this stuff that lasagna usually doesn't get in it, and all of a sudden it comes out and it's just the bomb.
Yeah.
It was beyond my expectations.
Right.
How it came out was beyond my expectations. So and everyone, the bands that used to battle each other, we're all like, we've been brothers for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's like calling each other up, seeing how we're doing, the whole so forth. We became really close with everybody during that period. Real close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great. Yeah.
Love that. So I want to talk about what happens before you go on stage, because you do a lot of live shows. So do you have any special routines or rituals, Bobby, before you get in that zone?
Okay, Ashley. I gotta tell you, I do have a ritual. And it's an old ritual, because I was like a 20-year-old guy. I thought I was a heavy jazz player and dude, So during the break, I would have my reed, that you use to play your horn with. And I take my reed and I get some Cavassier, and I put my reed in my Cavassier, and I would just sit, just chill during my break, right? Just chill. Fast forward. Before we go on, Marlon, well, I'm not gonna name, I'm not gonna name Marlon, but we have a little ritual. Some of us, about 3 or 4 of us, and we have a rum and coke. We have a rum and coke before the show.
Nice.
Just one. Just about. It's not even that you need it. It's just about, that's who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where that takes you back when there was blowing smoke in your face while you were playing your instrument. Takes you back to the bar. That you just brought that along with you. You know what I mean? Well,
Hmm.
I'm bringing that along with me. So that's my ritual, and we do prayer as well. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Love that. So when you go out, right?
Mhm.
When you go out to a bar or restaurant, is rum and coke your drink as well?
Not necessarily. I have a partner that keeps me like, oh no, you're not, we're not drinking this time.
Yeah.
we're not having any, like, because we got to go do this, and
Right.
so we'll have maybe water, or if we're hanging out after the show, we're at the bar, we'll drink and have some chicken wings and all that. We'll do it then, but
Yeah.
not, it's not anything that, alcohol is not anything that's in my life. You come, if I have a family over and they bring beer or alcohol, that alcohol sits around for a long time here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's just a ritual that I tie to going out doing that, and also like to, if I'm watching football or something, I like Heineken and chicken wings and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just nothing. Just I don't think anybody really needs spirit to do anything
Yeah.
better. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's just, again, if I was tying my shoe up a funny kind of way back in the day, I'd be tying my shoe up a funny kind of way today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just simple. You go, oh, let's just have a little cheers, man, to a great show. Boom, boom, and
Yeah.
pray going up. Yes.
Totally. So, what was the last concert you attended, Bobby?
Earth, wind, and fire. Oh yeah, it was great. I hadn't seen the brothers in a while, and Philip Bailey and Ralph Johnson, they produced me back in the '70s. My first two records on 20th Century Fox,
Yeah.
and the great Maurice White, who was to me one of the greatest producers and band leaders to me that I ever witnessed. He just, everything about him, everything about his work ethic.
Hmm.
Everything about him was like, oh, no, no. If you're looking at the ceiling, he looking what's on top of or behind the ceiling. He's looking
Yeah.
up there, and he's just, but he had this humility that was just so infectious. He's just mellow, and, just a good guy, just a strong guy. And it's the first, and when I saw them in Cleveland on the All in All tour, when they had, you weren't born yet actually, but they had this magic show, these tubes that came down,
Uh-huh.
and when they did the rumbling and everything, and the speakers kind of coming off, just the whole building, and these tubes came down and filled up with smoke, and then they lifted up, and the band was there, and they kicked off, and then had a lot of magic stuff, and just he was just the visionary he was, along with the musicians
Hmm.
that were in that band.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, when you have musicians like that, your creative juices just can steadily flow
Yeah.
because they can do everything that's in your head.
Mm.
And a lot of people got to go out to have a band that already has, and get another person or some other personnel to come in and do what they can't do on a record.
Hmm.
He had everything there. You know what I mean? The guys, horn section that could read anything. The guys could play everything rhythmically, and he was so rhythmically in tune because he was with Les McCann, back in the day, and he had this. He was a drummer, so he had this rhythmic thing about him in his head, and the kalimba, and introducing the kalimba to popular music and funk,
Hmm.
and when I went to see him, I was pleasantly surprised. They kicked. It was a great show. And when you see everyone just standing up singing all the songs, just stand up singing a song. What else you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the last. That was the last show.
Hmm. Cool. Do you have any, and I know this is hard to pick since EWF has such a huge body of work, but do you have any songs of theirs that really, hold a special place in your heart?
I think that All in All album
Hmm.
was I think was a masterpiece. And I liked Reasons, the song Reasons.
Hmm.
My friend Don Myrick, God rest may he rest in peace, alto saxophone. Well, played saxophone, period, was a monster. a great guy. Played on some of my stuff. Um, Solo on that "After the Love Is Gone." That's one of my favorite songs. "After the Love Is Gone." That came afterwards, but that's another that went on the All the Hall record. But yeah, I liked "After the Love Is Gone," "Reasons," "September," sing a simple song. You know, it was just the happy. You know, and uh, this groove tonight. It was like, for me, being a producer somewhat and a musician and a composer in my own right, I admired the way Maurice got all those parts in that song and made them all work together. Because it's a lot. It's a busy song, but
Yeah.
it stays funky. And
Mm-hmm.
that's art that everyone doesn't have that art. You know what I mean? George Clinton kind of has it. He'll keep, oh, let me throw this in, and it all stays funky. It all works. You know what I mean? But he was just that dude. So yeah, I have to. They were up here. They was one of the top bands in the world. So yes, they still kick.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
yes.
So, what advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question, Ashley. Just a minute, Ashley. Cheers to that question.
Cheers. I don't have a glass, but
That's
cheers.
it. No big deal. I would say, I would have wished that I learned the business more.
Mm.
There's music and there's music business, so that would have been what I would have told my younger self. There was no template for me to grow by that way. So you had to learn by trial and error, and sometimes the trials hurt more. And the the hardest part about going up the mountain is when you slip and you go down the mountain. You got to climb back up the mountain.
Right.
That's the harder climb. Um, but but again, by the same token, it's not so regrettable because the end product of being able to do this for so long and be blessed to do this for generations, you don't know when it was supposed to be hard. And
Yeah.
it was hard, you were able to endure. If you know what I mean, you were
Totally.
able you grew those kind of brain cell muscles, or just, because you would have quit. A lot of people quit, and so I think because it was always not easy is the part that was more stimulating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you say, "Oh, you can't," or "You're not going to do this." I go, "Oh, yeah, really? Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use that. I'm gonna use that." And that's how I used to operate. You say, "Oh, that can't happen." "Oh, okay.
Mm.
All right, it's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna use that."
Mm.
And that's kind of how my mindset is always kind of been that way, because um, you can't make yourself special. People make you special.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I can't. Well, I'm a special guy. Ashley, what do you think? Well, hey, you can't. It's your loved ones that know you, and it's the fans that know of you, and it's fans that may get to know of you. They take a vote on who you are.
Mm.
You can't vote for yourself.
Yeah.
The minute you start voting for yourself, you are not going to be elected. And being elected is like they're loving your music and they're buying your music. So I need their vote, not how I feel about myself. You have to leave that kind of judgment to people that know and seeing the best and the worst of you. That's the people that's in your life circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my circle is, I have a great family, and been blessed, with children that are, good people, and got a great partner. And you met her earlier, but she manages the band and
Yeah.
keeps my stuff straight, keeps me straight, and oppositional enough to make me think, because you everything you do is not good. So, it's just everything you do is just not good.
Right.
And so when someone just be an acceptance of when somebody says, okay, that's okay, but it's not doing this for me. Okay, well, respect that it's not doing it for them, but it doesn't make it a bad thing. Yeah, that's what you got to start understanding. And if you let that influence you, then you'll never do anything. So, you know what I mean? So it's like let the people feel what they want to feel about you, your music, and everything else. You know yourself, and don't argue about it. Don't get into those kind of things. So because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, I just got through sweating an hour for you, and hope you liked it. I loved it. I love sweating for you. I hope you liked it. And suck. Okay. See you next time. That same person that say you suck is at your next show. You know what I mean? So it's just you just can't get in. You can't buy. You can't drink your own Kool-Aid. It's dumb. It's not a good thing. Don't drink it. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Bobby, that's all the questions I have for you this evening. But before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to share with the room?
Yes. A couple things. I want to first, thank our fans all around the world. The loyal band members. Loyalty is important. If I feel you have to be loyalty, if you're in the army or armed services together, you should definitely be loyal in a band because you have a common, you have a common goal. There's Skip, Martin, Donnie Sykes, Raymond Calhoun, Marlon McClain, Keith Harrison, Alvin Frazier, and I got a new guy that's coming aboard. His name is Tony Mason, and people I think gonna really dig Tony. He's a heck of a talent. Sings his behind off, but he got how can I say this? He got that thing, you hear it in his voice, he just got that thing, and everyone doesn't have that thing, like Charlie Wilson, he just got that thing. There's some vocal Stevie, he's got that, he's everybody don't have it, it's just something you don't. I just call it a thing because I don't have a word for it. But it's not. I'm not going to even say necessarily a vibe. The vibe comes from him, but the thing is what holds you to his vibe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like a magnet. It has to adhere you. You adhere to it because he's like, oh wow, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this right here. That's where you want to feel it. You want to feel, oh, wow, okay. You know what I mean? So look forward to working with him. Yeah, so, and as for all the youngsters out there, ask your parents, say, hey, I want to play an instrument, put that little thing down, those computers down, those games down. Some of them will help you, get a job because they're looking for gamers. They're looking for people who know how to work those things. But the music has to be perpetuated by the youth today. Where we're at, all of us, we're coming into the winter of our situation, of our lives. So when people are in the spring of their lives, they need to take advantage that they're in the spring of their lives and get it done. Because music is the healing force of the world. It's the healing force. Because guess what? When COVID came, it shut us down, didn't it, Ashley?
It sure did.
Guess what you could do? You could play your music at home. You could dance at home. What would you do if you didn't have that? Just think about it. What would you do if they didn't have the music? You know what I mean? It's kind of rough to think about. I call them even the people that blow their horns and even angry now. I said, oh, those are COVID people right there. That's a result of COVID. You know what I'm saying? That's isolation. They still mad about that. You know what I mean? But music is the healing force and brings everyone together. So that's why I say what I say. Thanks to the fans, around the world. Thanks to you, people like you that talk to people like me. we need you to let people know that we're still around. And I promise that as long as God gives me breath, I will always give you everything that you have to have from a musical standpoint. When I'm on stage, you're getting all of me. And sometimes when I'm tired, you don't know I'm tired because I'm gonna give you all of me. So I can lay down later, but while I'm there, I'm gonna try to kill you. You know what I mean? So, and the band's mentality is like that. You're gonna get all of us up there. And most of the guys I know in these bands, they feel the same way. So just understand that. You know what I mean? And take advantage and take these old schoolers in because we ain't a lot of us around. Yeah, so it's like you got to do this thing now. So yeah.
And January 27th, where can we see you, Bobby?
At the Toyota Center in California, in Ontario. It's going to be a great show. The headliner, Charlie Wilson, doing the Dazz Band stuff. It's going to be Morris Day on time. SOS, Midnight Star, Dazz Band, Elvis Champagne, and it's going to be one heck of a night, one funky night.
Yeah. I mean, you think of one of those acts by themselves, you are lucky. But to get all of those incredible musicians on one bill, that is going to be a show. Guys, go get tickets to the show. It's going to be a straight party. And it's the best way to start your new year. Funky, fun, good time. Support this music. It is so needed. And like you said, music is the healing power. So take up an instrument. Tell someone about good music. Buy tickets to live events. This is so important to keep the funk alive.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yes. Well, Bobby, so very grateful for your time. Thank you so much for coming to my show. It has been a pleasure. And guys, please support good music. Be kind to each other. Keep the funk alive. And keep seeing what the Dazz Band's up to in 2024. We're only a couple weeks into the new year, and they got some fun stuff coming up.
That's www.thedazzband.com.
Yeah.
Facebook, the one and only Dazz Band.
Yep.
Instagram, the Dazz Band. TikTok, Dazz Band Music. You'll find us.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. So
I love it. Bobby, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes.
And we will see you next time. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Ash.
Of course. Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.